This presentation today is called How to Pitch to Investors. And this is part of the Elevate programme for businesses that are 0 to 3 years, which is supported by the London Borough of Waltham Forest, their Business Recovery and Growth Fund. And it's coordinated by CRATE, which is an organisation which helps with the London Borough of Waltham Forest, and in conjunction with Hustle and Heels, who I'm working with. And Hustle and Heels is one of the delivery partners. So this has been, we've had a series of these presentations, but they've all been on different topics. I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to get started. Okay, so bear with me a second. So this is, so far, it's just the three of us. So we're going to probably get through it a little bit quicker. But as I was saying to Emmanuel earlier, it's going to be a chance for you to get hopefully a lot more out of it. I am going to be presenting, but please, any questions, interrupt. I need it to be interactive because hopefully you're going to get something out of it. Okay, so I had asked Emmanuel this before, but if you don't mind, Emmanuel, just share with us again, with me again, and Alice, what your business is and how you found out about this and what you're hoping to get out of today.
Okay, so, well. Hi.
Again, sorry, hi.
All right. Hello, Alice, nice to meet you. My name's Emmanuel, and I have a business called Fan Rides, and what we do is we offer a ride sharing service for sports fans, in particular football fans. And I found out about this via the Elevate program. I've attended so many, and what I'm hoping to get out of this is essentially how to pitch my ideas to investors, because every single time I've tried to come up with an elevator pitch or try to use some sort of rigid structure, it just hasn't really worked for me. For some reason, I just can't necessarily be myself and sort of just convey my idea across effectively. So here I am to learn.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alice, how about you?
Okay, hi, I'm Alice. I am the founder of Yummies, which is a members card for savvy parents that gives them exclusive ongoing discounts at a variety of London's finest family-friendly businesses. And I've joined today, I found it on Eventbrite, and I'm learning that investment is something that's normal for businesses and startup businesses, but I don't know anybody else in this space. Most of my friends and parents' friends went to university and then just did the job that came straight after that. So I'm just looking to educate myself to a place where I can know how to do this and be more confident in doing this, and also hopefully kind of build community of other people that are in the same space as me.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you both very much. Well, I like the fact that you both actually have a lot of knowledge. So hopefully this is just going to build on it. But I also like the fact that your businesses are very different, which is great because you're going to be coming at it from different angles. So let's get stuck in to what we're going to do today. So the title is obviously How to Pitch Your Business to Investors. There isn't, Emmanuel, you alluded to that. There's not one right way to do it. Okay. And it's very individual, but this is just what I've come across in my experience. And hopefully there's going to be some ideas that you can apply to your real life businesses. So just a little bit about me. My name is Nylah. I'm a workshop facilitator for Hustle and Heels. And Hustle and Heels is a social enterprise that supports underrepresented entrepreneurs to start, improve and grow their businesses through events, workshops and programs. We're very hands-on. So I'm actually independent. So I work for myself with brands and businesses, usually in beauty, but I specialize in development, product development, communications and marketing. And what I do is I do training courses, either in large groups or in small groups with different types of businesses. And I love presenting and connecting with people. So let's assume, well, in fact, in your case, this is actually true. You've got this fantastic business idea that needs financing to get to the next level. Today, what we're going to do is just discuss how you can prepare investors. And like I said before, using this information, you're going to create a pitch of your own. So where do we start? Now, obviously, I've written this because I wasn't sure who was going to be involved. This program, Elevate, is for businesses that are 0 to 3 years old. So there's some people who literally just have an idea, and there's some people who are up and running in business. So it's really just a matter of, you know, trying to capture everything for everybody. But today we can tailor a bit more, because I think your businesses actually are happening and alive. So you're more than an idea, you're both actually in it. Am I right?
I'm kind of more idea stage.
Okay, great.
Or early stage.
I'm in more prototype.
Okay.
And stuff. So I'm not trading, but I might be.
Okay. Well, this is you're the perfect audience for me then. We'll just talk about what you're probably very well aware of. A traditional way to pitch your business is generally you get all your financial business data, right? You get it all together. You prepare a meeting for the investors. You showcase the idea, and you hope they're impressed and invest, and everybody lives happily ever after, right? Now, hello. I think that's Terry. Hi, Terry. Hi, are you okay? Nice to see you.
So sorry I'm late. I was with a client and we went over. So sorry.
All right, no, don't worry.
Much?
No, you haven't
much?
No.
Okay.
Emmanuel and Alice, Terry was on one of my presentation last week, and I did say to her if she wanted to join this week, it'd be lovely to see her. So I'm really pleased to see you. All we've done, Terry, is everyone's talked about their business and what their business or business idea, and we're just literally starting about how to pitch. So you haven't missed very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just want to tell Emmanuel and Alice what your business is?
Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Alice. So a personalized, well, how do I put it? I've written it out the other day so nicely. We're a creative company which personalize in textiles, embroidery, personalizing, using embroidery sublimation, and what's the other one called? So rubbish at this, sorry. And vinyl. That's it.
So you do design, don't you?
Yes. Also, we offer graphic design, logo design, letterheads, business cards, etc.
Okay. Now, let me see if I can paraphrase Alice and Emmanuel's businesses, and you can correct me if I haven't paid attention. So Emmanuel, his business is called Fan Rides, and what it is, it's a ride sharing service for sports fans. So people who want to go to matches and so on. It's mainly football fans, but I guess it could be for any kind of sport. Would that be right?
That's correct.
Okay, good, right. But then I've heard yours twice. Now, Alice, Alice, yours is called Yummies, and it's a membership scheme for parents, and it gives them discounts off family-friendly venues.
All family-friendly businesses.
All family-friendly businesses, right? So we've got some great ideas in the room, okay? So just so everyone knows where we are. And all I was saying, Kerry, I was just saying that traditionally when people are pitching, what they do is the standard ways, you get your business data, you get your finances ready, you prepare a meeting, and then you showcase your idea with the idea that hoping they're going to love it and it's going to work. But as Emmanuel will tell you, and as many of us know, it's not always that straightforward, okay? And today, Terry, we're going to be interactive. I'm just going to say that, okay? So it's going to be a Dragon's Den situation. Now, I don't know how many, no, don't laugh, because as I was saying to everyone before, I think it's a great way to show how people pitch. Most of us would have seen Dragon's Den, and that's what they do. People go into the Dragon's Den and they pitch their ideas. So I'm going to take the concept of Dragon's Den to shape how today's going to go, okay? So what we're going to do is, today I'm going to talk about, firstly, investors, what they're looking for, very generally, but I'm going to go into some detail. I'm going to talk about how we can prepare the data for investors. Emmanuel, give any feedback and any experience you've had, would be really useful as well. Then I'm going to talk about some tips and tricks that will help you shine, and then we're going to do a group activity. Now, I'm trying to be quite good with the time here because I want to be able to give everybody enough time. You're going to be preparing a pitch. Some of you are going to be pitching, and some of you are going to be the investors, all right? So what we're going to do is, in that exercise, hopefully, we will learn some of the pros and cons, and it'll be a springboard. I had wanted everyone to do a pitch on their business, but because there's a lot of data to prepare, I just thought it'd be a bit much. So whereas if we do sort of this kind of fantasy pitch, it'll be a bit of fun, but it'll also just sort of put the ideas into your head. Okay. So hopefully that's how we're going to go. Right. Investors. So we're going to talk about, first of all, what they're looking for and who are they? Because they're not all the same type of investors. They've all got different reasons to invest. As you said, Alice, investment is a really big part of, put it this way, you've got a business idea, but you may not have the money or all the bits and pieces that you need, and you realize that somebody helping you with that can get you there much faster. That's a really simple basic way of putting it. But these investors are going to look for information. They're going to want data. And this part is to help you sort of know more or less what kind of data to prepare. Okay?
No. So, out of curiosity, is anybody else hearing any extra feedback that's coming across?
I am actually, yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon we can all just go on mute? Apart from Nana, of course. God, I'm just hearing some feedback and it's just kind of interrupted. If that's okay.
Is everybody on mute? Okay, right, let's do that. Thank you. That's usually what it is, Emmanuel, isn't it? So brilliant. Okay. So firstly, I'm just going to talk very broadly about the types of investors. Now, you probably know this, so I won't labor the point. But basically, an investor is anybody who wants to invest money, and it's usually money, or resources into your business. So because of the Dragon's Den theme, I'm talking about entrepreneurs are usually the people that you might come across, people who invest in businesses. That's how they make their money. They're looking for companies that they can put their money in and get money out as a profit, ideally, okay? So entrepreneurs, basically you're all entrepreneurs as well. You know, you're setting up your businesses, whether they're on top of what you're doing normally or this is your full-time, it's entrepreneurial, okay? There's a type of investor called angel investors. Now, does anybody, have you all heard of angel investors? Yeah, everyone's nodding their heads. Okay, cool. So you know what they are. I've listed them, angel investors and banks and venture capitalists, because although they all want to invest, the way they invest is slightly different. You know, an angel investor usually is somebody who might actually want to give more than just the money. You know, they may want to invest X% in your business, but then obviously they get a stake and they might have some skills or some mentoring. You know, it's kind of like they want your business to do well for different reasons. They don't just want it for the money. And sometimes they really want to do the mentoring as well. So that's a great way to look at investment if you're, you know, wanting a little bit. Sometimes their terms are more favorable, you know, because there are some people who are, I call them serial angel investors. Does that make sense? They're people who want to develop small startups because they can see that in the future, these businesses are going to do well, but their strategy is to invest in lots of businesses and have lots of money going forward. Banks, well, they want to invest in you if they think you're going to make money. And venture capitalists, they also want to make money. That's what they do. But either way, the principle is still the same. It just depends on what you're looking for. And then Alice, as you mentioned, friends and family. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting a friend or family to, you know, to get involved in your business. And a lot of people do that, but you kind of have to still have some of the boundaries and the barriers because it's still them believing in your business and hoping that your business returns a profit. And then of course, there's other businesses. Sometimes you come across companies that, that basically, because you're in a similar area, it's almost like it makes more sense for them to invest in you because you can pool your resources. I can't think of an exact example, and I know it used to happen in the past, but it's just to be aware that there's not one single type of investor. Is that clear? However, they're all going to want to know more or less the same thing. They're going to want to know what your product is. Yeah, absolutely. They want to know where the money has come from to create the business and for it to sustain that creation, and also how it will grow. Nobody is investing without hoping they make money. Lovely as we like to think, you know, they want to be able to do the numbers and be clear that this investment is going to give them a return that they're satisfied with. So they want to know, how are you going to make this investment that I've given you make money for you and also for me as the investor? And they also want to know how the business is being run. Okay. So you're basically going to have to give them a lot of information before they part with their money. Makes sense, right? Let me just go to the next page. So now you've all basically done this. I kind of did a warm up by asking you what your business is, but this is, I'm calling it an activity. What I would like us to do is either you can write it down or you can share it with me later. It's up to you. But just like a bit like Terry was trying to do, just a little short sentence which really explains your business idea, the unique selling point, you know, what makes you different, and then just sort of talk about your short-term goals and why you need investment. So it can be maybe 2 sentences, but just something quite quick and snappy. This we're going to need later on, okay? Okay, so while you're all doing that, I'm just going to recap a little bit about what we said in investors. So of course, we all know the reason for looking for investment, I should say. Investment can deliver cash, or what we call working capital. So basically the readies, you know, money that you can use for your day-to-day running of the business that you may not have at the beginning. Investment can help you get that and get basically the ball rolling, get where you want to get to. But your investors are going to want information before they decide to invest. Now, the reason I'm going on about trying to get this little summary of your business is that this is the first part in the pitch. And it's one of those things that takes time. It takes time to refine how you describe your business and how you speak to people about it. So me saying 2 minutes to do a short sentence is really unrealistic, okay? It's not easy, all right? But when you are going to present to an investor your data, you know, do you have that information in a clear format? Yes or no? If you do, brilliant. But if you don't, chances are we need to think about a business plan, okay? So please keep working on the little statement, but we're going to keep moving. But I just wanted to, you know, get this clarity of where and how we put the information. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's have a little look. Okay. There you go. It's nice and clear. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I missed the other bit about what they want the money for.
Okay, park that. We're going to come back to that, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's hard, isn't it? It's really difficult to get it all in a short, and I didn't say it has to be 2 sentences or this kind of thing, but sometimes it's a bit like Terry was saying, once you start trying to explain what you do, the more you do it, hopefully the smoother it will become. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not maybe as hard as creating the business, but you've got to then promote it. So it's tough. Okay, let me look at Terry's. Okay, there you go. You've said what you do. Great. It's not easy though, is it? No. No, I think if it was easy, everyone would be able to do it. You know, and again, I can't say this is wrong or this is right. I just know that you eventually will find a phrase and an expression that will resonate with you, and it'll just roll off your tongue. Okay. I also think that these days, a lot of the people that you're going to be pitching to, you may never meet in real person. So it's really important to have these little sentences ready to throw out, you know, so you can just put it into whatever format you want, whether you email, whether you text. Do you see what I mean? Right. Alice, don't worry, I know you're at it, so we'll just keep going, but I can't wait to see yours. So this data, how are we going to prepare this data? Now I'm going to talk about business plan clearly, because I think a business plan is a key tool in your pitch. I'm going to talk about some of the key elements of a business plan and why you need one, okay? Again, a lot of this you'll know already. So if I start telling you things that you already know, we'll just move on. Okay, so basically, and this is obviously quite straightforward, a business plan, it covers all the major areas of your business. It will answer, a solid business plan will answer the key questions that your investors will have. people want to know before they put their money in, like I said before, what's going on with this business? Where's the money coming from? How will this money turn into profit? And if you go to...
Sorry, as you just said, I didn't mean to interrupt. As you just said, where's the money's coming from? What does that mean exactly? I mean, for someone that's in our situation.
Right.
That's a really... an investor, if you go to an investor, I suppose you don't necessarily, I suppose you want money, right?
That's exactly, Emmanuel. But the thing is, you've got an idea for your business.
Yeah.
But if you go for investment, you're not always going to go for investment for everything. They're going to want to see that you've got a plan as to how you will start the business. Yeah. And so that's what I mean, where's the money coming from to actually get the business started? Do you see what I mean?
No, as in your own money to help sort of get the business up until a point where you now need investment to take it forwards, or is it a case of the money that you're requesting for is for this particular part of the business to get it going up until you need more money?
I think it's both. I think if you go up to somebody, say, this is my business idea, and they're going to be, okay, how are you going to get it started? How are you going to pay for, in your case, the vehicles? You know, where's that money coming from? You'll be like, oh, that's what I'm coming to you for. Okay. So if you want them to fund the whole business, you need to be able to explain that. But if you've already started and you said, look, I know where to get the vehicles, but to get the right level of drivers, I need X more investment because I need 5 drivers instead of 3, and I can only afford 3. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it's a really good question because there's nothing wrong with having an idea and getting somebody to try and fund the whole idea. But most of the time, people are going to want to see that you've thought through how much, even if you don't have the money, you will know how much it would cost to get X amount of vehicles, how much it would cost to run those vehicles, how much it would cost to have X amount of, you've got to have those figures. So it's a mixture of the two. So you're right on both counts, yeah? Okay. But the business plan, it often, like, for example, if you're going to a bank or a venture capitalist or people who actually invest for a living, they're going to want to see the business plan. It's almost like a prerequisite, yeah? And what it does also is, if you follow the general guidelines for a business plan, you actually look at what's good in your business, i.e. what your strengths are and what's missing. Do you see what I mean? And what the opportunities are. So you might say that this is a great idea, but I need 10 times more money than I thought I'd need. That's why I'm coming for investment. Yeah? Okay? So it's a good sort of, it's like a leveler. Do you know what I mean? It's like a checklist of where your business is. Okay. And then they're like, okay, Emmanuel has really thought about this business. He might not have all the money, but he's covered all the elements that we'd like to see. So if we give him the money, he knows what he's going to do with it. Okay. Yeah? Okay, so that's what a business plan can give. It basically gives them confidence that you've thought about every aspect of your business. Okay. That's the simplest way for me to put it. Now, there are lots of different types of business plans. You can go online and look at what's in a business plan, what are people looking at, okay? So what I've done is I've just talked about the general elements of a business plan. And, you know, firstly, people want to know what's the mission, yeah? What's your vision for your business and what the goals? Now, this little statement that you've done talks about what, in everyone's case, says what the business is and what you do. But somebody investing wants to know what your goals are. So for example, Alice, maybe your business might just be in your local area, but maybe in a few years, you'd like to make it nationwide. You know, they might need to know those goals, if those goals are quite short term or if they're long term. The business plan will obviously, as I say, talk about the product and the service. It'll talk about the sales. So yeah, so I was saying about the product or service, and Alice has explained her product and service quite clearly there. The sales, i.e. who are you selling your service or your product to? Strategy, your plan, and also your forecast, you know, what you how much you anticipate making, you know, what your plans, the sales figures are going to be like. Financials, seems obvious, but going back to your question, Emmanuel, the expenses, what it's going to cost you to do what you want to do. Funding, like we said before, the money that you're going to use to set up your business, or you can get funding from investors, yeah? But again, it needs to be in there, the business plan, how you're going to get the money. If you're going to have employees, you've got to plan for that. Then the business plan has to talk about your marketing. When I say marketing, how you promote your business, but also your research into the market that you're in. Yeah, how you're going to advertise, and also who your competitors are. You mentioned HelloFresh, Alice, interestingly enough. And although that isn't a similar kind of business, it is like a subscription, I guess. So that's why it's a reference. Would that make sense?
Yeah, it's a subscription, but also it's one of the discounts that's so commonly used to have an introductory offer to get people in, to say like, oh, join this club and then you can get your first HelloFresh box free. But what makes us different is that with companies we work with, you would continually get discounts throughout the year. So it wouldn't be that like, yeah, you get one, but that's just the same as signing up to an email list. So yeah, that's why I put it in there.
Excellent. So that shows that you know about your market and you also understand your competitors. Do you see what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that will be, yeah, that's great. So that's the kind of stuff that you would, in your business plan, you'd explain the strategy between your discounting strategy. Yeah. And then the business plan has to talk about the founder. You know, they want to know who you are, what your background is, what qualifies you for running this business, or just what makes you interesting, you know, because they're basically going to want to know who you are. Okay. So as I said, it's not difficult to find sort of business plan formats online. You just need to sort of have a look and see what the key things that business plan should have. But most of them are the ones I've mentioned. And as I say, it's a really good way, because when I've done business plans, or when you look at people's business plans, suddenly sometimes there'll be a glaring hole, which when you're in the business, you don't see, but somebody looking at it be like, okay, so what's this? What's that? And it gets you questioning it, because before you present your business plan, you've got to make sure you can almost answer all the questions in the structure. Yeah. So it's a great discipline to have. And it's something you need even if you're not going to pitch to investors. So just think about that. Do you think a business plan is really necessary?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it will keep you on track. And also, if you've got all of the ideas in your head, that's hard to give to somebody else to show them all of your ideas. So it can really like show somebody quite quickly all of the things that you're thinking.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it is just what I like about a business plan is that it's ready. It should be, when it's done, you should be able to say, this is my business plan. Obviously it's not one page. It could be, and it's something tangible, but I think it's something that evolves, but it is important to have your ideas somewhere accessible. The reason I ask that question is that you might have all that information anyway. Do you see what I mean? It's just that it's putting it in a document or in a format that people can get their hands on. And as you say, Alice, it forces you to sort of look at things. So I think if you don't have a business plan, but you have all that data, just find a way to put the data together. But again, a business plan, it's almost like it's one of those unwritten rules that people want to see. So you I think that's why people do one. And yeah, going back to the next question I was going to say is, do you know your market, and how well do you know your market? I mean, Emmanuel, for you, for example, your idea is quite, sharing exists, but for fans, I don't know if it does. So to me, it seems like yours is a pretty new idea.
Mm-hmm.
But so who would be your competitors? You don't have to answer it now, but that's the kind of stuff people would want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I already know who my competitors are.
Okay, excellent.
So, I mean, there is already an existing market, because people catch the train and catch the coach, and that's already there. And it's essentially, well, those prices are quite high. Yeah. They don't necessarily take you directly to where you want to get to. And it's not really built around those like the trains and coaches. They're not built around the game that you're going to. Yeah. It's just built around just general travel, which is great. But and then you have like like I say, you have lots of ride sharing apps, which is quite popular, and it's been proven that people are willing to ride share for like a slightly cheaper price point. But once again, that doesn't necessarily tackle this particular audience. So trying to position myself in between the two.
Yeah.
That's what I'm aiming for.
See, that kind of information is awesome. And that really shows that you've found a niche.
Mm-hmm.
Because ride sharing specifically for this specific game and this particular, is not the same as everybody taking the tube to the O2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And that's the kind of stuff that investors will want to know. Why are you doing this? What's the USP? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? So all of that stuff would go into your business plan, but also means that there's a lot of thought behind the business. Mm-hmm. The thing that a business plan tends to do is it makes you think about all aspects in that level of detail.
Yeah.
So you've thought about that, got to go back to the financing and then the logistics. And you've probably thought about all of it, but having it in a document will just make the investors go, okay, all the boxes are ticked, And also that's how some of these new ideas come out, because what you're saying, it makes perfect sense, but I haven't heard of anyone doing it yet. So, not yet. I won't tell anyone, by the way, just in case they steal your idea. How about that?
Even if they do steal it, it's all about execution, right? So
absolutely, yeah, they could steal it, but they won't do it the way you do it. That's absolutely right. And the other thing about a business plan and even investment is, this is a general thing that I want to discuss, is, are you ready to ask for help? Because investing does mean, look, I need help with the business. I know what I need and I know what I want to do. I just can't get there without the investment. But investors will also, some of them will have a stake in your business, or they will ask for that. So you need to be ready for them to, I wouldn't say interfere, but to get involved in some of the decision making. Yeah, so that's what I mean by, are you ready to ask for help? Because this help will come with some kind of caveat. And it's just a matter of thinking if the time is right. Okay. So Terry's quiet, but I know you're going to ask when you've got a question, right? Excellent. Okay, cool. So the recap for the business plan. I think it's a useful framework for your business. The data from the plan, for me, is going to be forming the basis of your pitch, okay? Because it's the nuts and bolts of your business, all the ins and outs, the strategy, the planning. As I've said before, there are lots of formats and styles of business plans, so just look at the options. Look at your bank, for example. If you want to get a bank loan, they'll probably, for your business, they'll say your business plan. Just Google it, you will find some. And the plan will evolve as your business evolves or as your ideas change. So keep on top of it and keep reviewing it and making sure that the plan that you present is the plan for you at that stage. Do you see what I mean? It may well be that certain elements change, and that's great because the business is growing, or you're evolving, or you're changing ideas. But the plan needs to reflect where you are when you present it. Okay. One other thing about financial data. Now, I'm not a finance person, but in the business plan, of course, they're going to look at finances. So make sure all your accounts are up to date. Now, if you haven't started, that's fine. But again, you will have used some money to create the business, whether it's to set up a website, whether it's to set up your social media, whether it's just basics. Just make sure that you have a handle on the money you're spending for the business and the money that's coming out of the business. And I would recommend that you check all the accounts with a professional. Definitely make sure your money is under control, because that data is going to go into your business plan. The other thing is to really think exactly how much money you need. It's one thing to say, I want investment. How much investment? Like you were saying, Emmanuel, is it investment for a specific item to take you to the next level? If you're very clear on that, then you can break down what this 10K will be used for and what it will deliver for you. Do you see what I mean? So really be sure that you've got the right amount of investment you need for the time. And again, that it all relates to when your money's up to date, you've got a professional, you can then do the figures and make sure that the figures actually make sense. Okay. And then also the investors are going to want to know, great, what return am I going to get if I invest in FanRide? If I invest in Yummies, Oh, Terry, you didn't give me the name of your business.
It's Minimes.
Yes, you did. You gave it to me last week. That's right, Minimes. Thank you. So, for example, what is going to be the profit that I get from my 10K investment, and how long will it take? How will that be delivered? They're going to want to know that. And I'm not saying that's easy to figure out, but that's why you probably need help. Yeah. So that's just very important. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to have a little break? How are we all doing?
Yeah, so I've kind of got a question. Sorry, let me somebody else gonna say something. I don't want my voice to just be all over the place.
No, there's only 3 of you, so you know, go for it.
Ooh. So I've heard that some investors that they're more about whatever investment they invest in, well, whatever amount they choose to invest in, they're looking for I don't know, 10 times the amount in return. Is that usually the sort of what they would be expecting? So for example, with your 10K analogy, I suppose if someone was to invest 10K, based on the knowledge I know, they would be expecting 100K back maybe in about 5 or 10 years, or depending on something like that. Is my thinking sort of realistic? Am I in the right sort of area with that sort of mindset?
Do you know what? It depends. It can be. If these people, the people who are investing, a lot of them do this, it's almost like their profession, okay? So what they'll do, Emmanuel, is for a 10K investment, they probably have a minimum in their heads that return will be over a period of time. But they're going to look at every business differently. Do you see what I mean? So if you're a startup, they might want to invest 10K knowing that the return they want might take X amount of years. Whereas if you're maybe trading and you got lots of data and they knew the patterns and they knew where this 10K was going to go, they may want that same money sooner, or it really depends. You know, I think what I'm saying is each investor will look at your pitch and see if they think there's enough data to support the level of investment, the return they want.
Okay.
So it varies. Yeah. I think some of the ones who invest, they're all going to be very careful about their investment, because nobody is going to invest if they think you're not going to make the money. Nobody will. So they need to be convinced that you can make the money. It's a matter of if the money you make is enough for them to say, I'm going to go with Emmanuel as opposed to Alice. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that does answer my question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no set rule, but there are some websites where they pair investors with pitchers. Okay. So there's a load of places, especially if they're what I call angel investors. There's ways that you can actually find people who just want to invest a certain amount, and that might be just enough for you at this stage. You still have to prepare a pitch and everything. Yeah. But they will look at all the pitches and say, yeah, you know what, I like this one. I'm going to invest 10 grand, and this is what I think Emmanuel will deliver X, Y, Z. Yeah. Oh,
really? So is there a website that actually provides this information? You don't necessarily have to go through someone per se.
Oh no, you have to do all the work with the pitch.
Yeah, which is fine. No, which is fine. Yeah. But I'm sorry, finding these angel investors.
Yeah, there are those websites, but again, I think you need to know a lot more about. Definitely, they're investors, because there's lots of people looking to invest. Yeah. And there's lots of brands and small startups looking to get investment. So you can actually find that. There's like angel investor networks and stuff like that. So you can. But when you go on to those, what I've seen is your pitch has to be on it. You have to have such a strong pitch that they're going to, it's literally like, I hate to make the analogy, but it's like a dating app. They're trying to find the right investor for your business, and you're trying to find the right, do you see what I mean? Yeah. So your profile is your pitch, your business, all that stuff. It's one way of doing it. And especially as Alice mentioned, that if you don't have people within your immediate network that you know that are going to invest, where do you find these investors? Do you see what I mean? So yes, that stuff is out there. You know, that's the kind of stuff I would do when I've really got my pitch and my business plan and all that stuff together. Yeah. Then you're like, okay, what options are there? Because I want investment. I need to look at all the options, and those things do exist. Okay. How good they are and how successful people are with them, I don't know. Does that help?
Emmanuel, there's also some events that you can go to where you can meet investors. Just like you can just find them on Eventbrite and things like that. 2 that I found quite good are one called Paradigm Talks and another one called Meet Founders. And at the moment, I'm just going to learn But also sometimes you can watch people doing their pitches. So you can see all the questions that people are asking and all of the information that they've already got there. So that can be helpful. And I don't know if you're going to cover this later anyway, but there's a tax break system for investors called SEIS or EIS.
I've heard of
you
that.
already know about that?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, perfect. So just they might ask you that as well.
Okay.
If you already
Thank you,
know.
Ali. That is brilliant. It's funny, I know a little bit about SEIS because the thing that I've been discovering over time is that we are being encouraged to either become entrepreneurs or to become investors. Do you see what I mean? It gets money into the economy. You know, your brilliant business idea and my loads of money that I want to invest in your business idea can make a great marriage. So the whole point is that there's a lot of help out there for people who want to invest because they've got a lot of money, or they see that as also if investing in a business is can be risky, but long term can give you a profit that might be better than, not the stock market, but could be better than, I don't know if it's better than housing. If you choose properly, you can do really well, but it's an art. And then of course, there's loads of people being encouraged to set up their own businesses for stability, you know, not working for anybody else. So the incentives for the investors are tax related, and the incentives for the pitchers are cash that I wouldn't necessarily get from a bank, or cash that I just haven't got now and I haven't got time to make because I'm trying to build a business. But yeah, I think the events, and I'm actually going to show you a little clip of somebody's pitch, just because, you know, there's no right and wrong ways, but I think you're right, Alice. I think it's just really finding out who's out there, how you can pitch your business in the most effective way. And there's a few tips and techniques. So it's difficult because I think sometimes it's made to be really straightforward and really easy. And I don't think it's straightforward and I don't think it's easy, but I think it's doable. Yeah. So that leads me nicely into the next section, which I'm going to go through quite quickly because I'm looking at the time and I want us to have time to really do our little Dragon's Den thing. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so this next section is the tips and tricks. So these are techniques and mindsets that can help you prepare. Okay. So as you alluded to, Emmanuel, the elevator pitch. And this is really technically the business elevator pitch, but it's the same thing. You know, you all know what this is. You know, the pitch is basically, you know, a speech or even a demo of your product. Yeah. And the thing with the pitch or the elevator pitch is it's your chance to tell your story your way. You know, you said something, Emmanuel, about, you know, you found it difficult to them to really sort of connect with you. Sometimes it's just finding the way that matches your personality. Do you see what I mean? So it's credible. You know, it's a really tricky thing. And I wish I had a dragon here with me because they could probably say what they're looking for. But sometimes you actually see people connect with people that they didn't think they would just because there's something that makes it stand out. You know, having said that, you need the figures to be credible. You need the data to be solid. Okay. So in this pitch, you need to think about the structure. If you're going to pitch to an investor, and we're going to talk about this a bit later, what are the main things you want to tell in that meeting, in the pitch meeting? Yeah, so that you might not want to go into all of it, but there's some key things, a bit like what you've all written. Those key elements of your business are things that you want the person who's hearing about your business to know its, you know, unique selling point, what it's about, who you're targeting. You want to know that you've thought of those things, but it's got to be a logical flow. And it does have to be concise. I don't mean short, I just mean clear. So they come out being really clear. And a good pitch is very memorable and it will appeal to the investors. Of course, all investors are different. So it might appeal to one, not the other. But if you're confident and you've got all the data and stuff, you're halfway there. So I'm saying this like it's a really easy thing to do. This is not easy. This is probably the biggest stumbling block, creating that killer elevator pitch. Would you agree with me, Emmanuel?
Yeah, yeah, it is quite difficult, and especially, so I've kind of been trying to fit into like a structure that just doesn't really work for me, because to be totally honest with you, it's just not who I am. So I've always kind of tried to write it in a way that fits this sort of rigid template, and
Yeah.
It was just never ever working for me. And I only found out like maybe like the other day or last week that I was like, well, no, you don't have to follow this necessary rigid structure. Just kind of be yourself, as long as you kind of get across your key points and like you say, like the figures there. Well, before you even get to the figures, just like what you're trying to do. And it's, I suppose you've done it in a way that represents who you are, and you're not trying to be somebody else.
Yeah. I think it's really difficult because I think the figures and getting that data together is key.
Yeah.
But how you present it has to be something that is genuine, and people see, this is Emmanuel, you know, this is who he is, this is why he set up the business, this is his passion, and this is how this fits with the plan and the figures. But it's a great learning when you realize that you can do it your way and it can still be true to what you want to do. And that's why, again, when you see different people pitching, it kind of helps, because they might be saying, hey, we've done this, we've done that, but how they're saying and how they present it makes you think, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And also because of what we were saying before, like Alice, you're saying all these events and all these ways you can see people pitching. So many people are pitching. These investors are seeing pitches all the time, okay? They're going to look at the data. When you send them your business plan, they're going to analyze that data in detail. They're going to get their accountants looking at your figures, saying, how's this person saying 20K when actually they haven't done the maths and it's actually going to cost me 30K? You know, they're going to look at everything you give them. So the pitch is almost like, it's like a performance. It's sort of like what makes you stand out. And then they're going to be interested in the nitty gritty. Do you see what I mean? That's the way I see it. But it's tough, and it takes time to really get something that you're happy with, you know. And I think a lot of people who pitch successfully have had loads and loads and loads of failed pitches. They might not tell you, but I'm telling you. You know, that's how it works. Nobody just sails into it. You know, it's part of the growth curve. But you know, there's ways and means. So let's go right now. I'm going to be really quick with this. So your pitch, it needs to give the complete picture. You, the business, product and service. I've said this before, but I'm saying it again and again for a reason, okay? The USP, why it will work, how much it costs. Your market, again, we've talked about that before, but that's the kind of question that the investors are really going to grill you about, how much it costs and how well you know your market, who your consumers, who the retailers are or stockists, and what the financials are. This whole pitch basically is your chance to prove to anybody why they should invest in you. Yeah, it's like being ready for a match. You've covered all your bases. You're match fit. You've trained. You've got all this information that you're ready. And they ask you a question, and you're not trying to duck it. You've got the information. Okay, so having all that information should make you confident. And when you're confident, you can be yourself and pitch it in your own personality. That's the theory. All right. So again, to ram home the idea of the USP, which for you guys is really excellent because each three of you got some fantastic ideas about things that don't exist, you know, in that way. So exactly what makes you unique, what is going to make you want the sales to rise, who your consumers are, what the benefits are. Keep telling people why your service is different, the branding and the marketing. There's other elements in the USP, but you know, in your pitch, they need to come away thinking, even if there are lots of other ride sharing apps for fans, which they're not, this one sticks in my mind, you know, and that's what we want them to come out of the pitch with. So you can pitch in many different ways. Again, you were saying, Emmanuel, about how there's a fixed way. You thought it doesn't actually have to be a meeting or a presentation. It nearly always is. But you can make an event out of it. You can really make it almost like a show. You know, I mean, I think this also depends on who the investors are. You know, there's a traditional impression of people in suits. It's all very formal and all this kind of stuff. And yes, but with this kind of angel investors and the different types of entrepreneurs who are investing, you can have a more relaxed style of pitch if you want. Doesn't mean the data isn't right. Doesn't mean you're not on point. It just means the style of the pitch, especially if you're doing something like with yours, Terry, you know, it's design, it's creative. So your pitch, I think, should have some elements of that. People should see some of that flair in your pitch. Again, that's what I think. Unless, of course, they are just there for the money, and you know they're just there for the money. We're going to talk about the investors later. But add creative flair where you can, but focus on the content. You know, you want to be sure that the key takeaway message is clear. Yeah. The substance is key. So it can be flashy, it can be full of flair, but you've got to have solid substance, because we all know that investors, they love facts. So I'm basically saying, make it creative, but make it full of facts. I'm not asking for much, but it needs to be solid. You basically, you know, you don't want people to be asking questions that you can't answer. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Levi Roots. I don't know if you all know him. Yeah, okay. Now, I don't know if I've got time, and this is going to be interesting because I'm going to see if I can share my screen and show you a little bit of his pitch. Bear with me a second. I've got the YouTube thing on his pitch. I just want to show it. Bear with me a second. I'm going to stop this share. Yeah. Hi, everybody. And I'm going to try and bring a new share so I can see the, here we go. I'm just going to do a few seconds of it, but I think it's worth seeing. Okay, can you see my YouTube screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so let me go to the beginning and make the screen a bit bigger. Okay, just going to play this for a few seconds.
Levi Roots was one entrepreneur who proved the rule that even the dragons can be wooed with charm and charisma. He came to the Den in February 2007, looking for an investment of £50,000 for his Caribbean cooking accompaniment, reggae sauce.
Put some music in my food for me and give me some reggae sauce. At reggae sauce.
When you think of charisma and personality, there could only be one name. Theopophetus. No. There could only be one name. Levi Roots.
It's so nice, I had to name it twice.
When he came on playing that guitar with that fantastic hair, fantastic voice, fantastic song, he had everyone's attention.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because it's a long video. What I was basically trying to show there, also because it's nice to see something different, is yes, it's a TV program. So obviously there's a little bit of what I might call artistic license, yeah? I don't know if in the real world he would have turned up at a meeting singing like that. I don't know. But the point I was making was he made a song out of it. I'm not saying you need to make a song out of it in your thing that we're doing later on. You can if you want. But he just made it different. You know, he made it stand out. And I think it worked for him. Well, I know it worked for him. I don't want to do this. Bear with me a second. All this technical stuff is a bit much for me. And it was just one of those things that you sort of think, great, it can be done. Think about what's relevant for you. Again, you know, the name of his product lent itself to a song. It's called Reggae. So of course he's going to do a song. Yeah. All I'm saying is that he put his character into it and it seemed to work for him. So it's something that we just need to think about. Now, I don't know, did anyone ever watch the original? Because I didn't watch the original. I actually heard about him after the products were in the shops. You know, I didn't know how he started up.
I saw the original.
Yeah, what did you think? Cheesy?
No, I was like, this is different.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like everyone else.
Yeah.
It was his own thing. Actually, I'm actually glad you brought that up. That's just kind of opened my mind a little bit more to definitely be more myself now I've seen this.
Yeah, I mean,
be more authentic.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously that's on YouTube. It's like 12 minutes long. It just shows the whole pitch and everything.
No, but I remember the pitch. I do remember. That's the only pitch I actually do remember from Dragon's Den. I've been in Dragon's Den for a very long time. But that is, as soon as you mentioned it, I knew it instantly. Yeah,
it's memorable, you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe the Dragons and Dragon's Den are just going to invest because it's telly. You know, these people, they do this for a living. That's why they're well, not for a living, but as their, you know, part of what they do. So it was just different, it worked, and also the product delivered and the message was clear, okay? So that's why I used that as a success story. And now he's all over our telly, Levi Roots, he's all over the supermarkets and everything, you know. It stood out. So the first tip was make a killer pitch. The second tip was people invest in people. Ultimately, they're going to invest in you, right? They need to trust your vision and ability, but as we've said before, just inject your personality into everything, yeah? Because that's the only way you're going to be genuine in you. And also it shows that you are credible. You know what I mean? So that's also related to what I just showed. Ultimately, they connected, they liked him, they liked his story. You know, maybe another business would have had the same figures, but they wouldn't have had that. So that's when, and that's the one thing, the difference between the investment sharing apps and platforms as opposed to being in front of investors face to face. Yeah, because when you're in front of them face to face, they can see you. But, you know, when times now where we can't always see people face to face, but just bear that in mind. I've got another little video that I want to show you about this brand called Nyla's Naturals. And she also came on Dragon's Den. I'm just going to show you, it's a real little clip, but I just think it's really helpful.
My name is Camise Davis, and I'm here today seeking a £50,000 investment for a 20% share in my multi-award winning brand, Nyla's Naturals. My products were inspired by my daughter, Nylah. I wanted my daughter to know from her earliest memory that her hair was magnificent. What I was seeking was a high-performance product driven by innovation and backed by evidence. And when I couldn't find it, I thought, there's a market here. I'm proud to say that since launching, I have sold over 3,000 units and I've won several industry awards. I turned down a listing with Holland & Barrett. However, I am in high-level talks with Superdrug. I have done all of this without working capital, whilst working part-time and having to raise 2 small children.
Well done.
Thank you.
I mean, to start this with no capital and to have 2 children and to have a part-time job.
So there you go. That's another little example, again, at Dragon's Den, of a different type of business and a different approach, but somebody putting their natural human side into the pitch, and also because the product was basically a product she did for her daughter and girls like her. But I hope I've made the point that it's bring yourself to the pitching table. Yeah, award-winning natural hair brand. Sarah was the dragon who invested. In this case, her brand was already trading, so she had details. I mean, she mentioned Superdrug. She turned down Holland & Barrett, so she had some solid data behind her. Yeah, she was proven. Doesn't mean they won't invest in you if you're a startup. I'm just saying they're different levels. You can get investment at different stages in your business life. Yeah, but she had a clear market and the USP was very clear. So that's also very helpful. And finally, I say read the room. What I think is really important is to find out a bit about who the investors are, if you can, okay? If you do your research, you can find out who they are, what they do they invest all the time? If it's a person, obviously, you know, what attracts them, what type of businesses do they invest in? Are they interested in sports? Are they interested in tech? Do you see what I mean? Do the work to sort of be sure that you're approaching a group of investors or an investor that is already sort of aligned with what you're trying to do. It doesn't mean they're the only ones that will invest. It just means you're prepared. And also think about the deal you're after. She said, Camise said she wanted £50,000 investment for a 20% stake. She's done her figures. So she knows that they're going to be involved in the business, but she's still going to own 80%. But that 50,000 is probably going to get her where she wants to go. If you're prepared to do a deal, make sure that you get the deal that's right for you, not the deal that's right for the investor, okay? And what will these investors bring to your business? Some people have got different skills. Some people have got different connections. You know, the investors have to add value to your business. It's not just the money, okay? Right. Well, now we've done that. I'm going to ask you guys to, now there's only 3 of you, which in a way is good. It's not an even number. We can do it in one of 2 ways. I was going to split the room up and do breakout rooms. I I don't know if you want to do that, or we could just have like 2 of you collaborating and 1 of you being the dragon. It's totally up to you. But the whole point of today's exercise is for somebody to do a pitch on a business idea. Probably easier to pitch on your own idea, yeah? But it's up to you. You've basically got a real imaginary business. You're going to have 2 minutes to pitch the idea to the investors, all right? Once you've done the 2-minute pitch, the investors come back with any questions they can think of. But this is going to be our own Dragon's Den. I'm not a pitcher and I'm not an investor. I'm just sitting back, okay? So depending on what you're thinking, guys, does anyone really want to pitch, or does anyone really want to be an investor?
I want to be an investor.
I bet you do. Okay. Okay. Alice and Terry, are you happy to collaborate on a pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I tell you what, you know, in Zoom, you can create these little breakout rooms, yeah? So I can put you together in a room, the 2 of you. You can work on your pitch. I'm probably going to give you about, I was going to say 10 minutes, but time's running away. So I was going to give you about 5 minutes just to come up with a pitch. I know it's pressure, yeah? Emmanuel's job isn't going to be easier than yours, because he's going to have to ask questions, pay attention to what you say in the pitch, and be like the Dragon's Den. But if that's all right with you guys, I think that will be a little bit of fun. So he's going to be the dragon, yeah? And you guys are going to be the ones with the with a beautiful story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a breakout room, yeah? And I'm going to put Alice and Terry in a room, and Emmanuel and I are just going to be here figuring out what to do. So let me do this. Okay, I want to create. So there's just going to be 1 room. How are we doing?
Good. I think we're good. Yeah. I think we're ready.
Okay, well, let's I'm going to say nothing now. I'm going to ask you to pitch, and when you finish your pitch, I'm going to time it, unfortunately, and then I'm going to ask Emmanuel to give some feedback, but then after that we'll have our discussion. Okay, so please take the floor.
People investing.
Okay, so I'm just here to introduce Mini-Me's, which is a company that can help to make clothing or your branding personal. So here we go.
Hello, so we are Mini-Me's. We're a creative company. We personalize in branding, fashion, as well as graphics. So what it is, sorry.
So what makes you different?
Okay, so what makes us different is that we are a small business, and we have a quicker turnaround time. So unlike the big businesses, you've got a set time where you have to give them enough time, a week or 2 weeks. We have a turnaround time of 2 or 3 days. Also, our quantities. With some companies, you need to order in bulk, whereas with us, you can order 1 or 100 minimum quantities. We also with other companies, depending on who you work with, you would need to submit artwork. With us, if you don't have artwork, it's not a problem. We will work with you, creating it for you, so the process will be easier to get your own logo or your own personalized garments. We work with local clubs, schools, as the name says, Mini-Me's, targeting your young ones, looking after your minis. Alice?
Yes. So basically, if you would like to have your children feel like they belong and be part of a team, then if you could just contact us, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, ladies, are you done?
Oh,
just making sure I'm covering just a second.
So
just before I get
oh dear.
just a quick one, ladies. What you just wanted to ask you how much you wanted them to invest.
Okay. I'll leave that with Alice.
Okay.
So we set this up for the mini-me's side of things, and what we chatted about was that Terry is actually going to go in and pitch to her daughter's head teacher. So that's why we ended it on the getting back in contact with us, because she wasn't looking for investment. The investment was to be a part of the company, I guess.
Excellent. Okay, right. No more from me. Emmanuel?
I get to be part of the company for free. I get percentage for free. Brilliant.
No, but you get to, you're it's as if you're the head teacher. So you can have your kids be in these amazing clothes.
Oh, right. Okay. Also, this was more of a, okay. So you're not asking for investment, you're selling item?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so okay, so this is more of a sales pitch than an investment pitch.
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was going to be more about asking for investment and stuff, in a sense of if I was to invest, I don't know. So I'm sitting down here as a dragon, and I have 60K sitting down here, and I have nothing to do with it. Do you not want any of that? And if you do, when am I going to get it back, essentially? As opposed to, I mean, if you just want me to buy a few t-shirts and stuff, I will. But for you, want a bit more than that. Oh, have I missed?
Okay. So, Emmanuel,
yeah,
we were looking at we weren't really looking at the money of such, but I see what you're saying. But with your 60K, it will help us to move a lot faster and cut down a lot of production time. Whereas we've got 2 machines, 2 embroidery heads, we could do with a 15 head.
Okay.
So just twisting this a bit, because I see what you're saying. Just twisting this a bit. I've done all of my research, and 1 machine at the minute is costing 30K. So with your 60K, we could do with 2 machine, which will get 4 times the amount the job done that we're doing, and even a quicker turnaround time. Instead of 2 to 3 days, we could do it next day.
Okay. And then, so if you got the extra machines, how is that going to improve your profit margin?
Okay, so this will help you improve my. This is how it will improve, because currently the school that we're dealing with is not just a standalone school. It's within a trust. It's the Griffin Trust. Now, this trust has up to 5 schools, total, including secondary as well as primary. They work together, and I know the minute they see 1 school in it, they're going to get in touch to find out who does your gear, who does your kit, how can we get some. Now, how things stands, if we get that now, we won't be able to cope with it. We could only manage 1 school now, but having you on board, we'll be able to take on all 5 schools, and the turnaround time will be just as good as if we were dealing with 1 school.
Okay. How much would you make from 1 school?
1 school is life-changing, because we're looking at over maybe 600 students. And if we get the contract on that 1 school, 600 students, we will not only just target the students, we'll target their parents. For instance, at an event, we're going to want parents wearing personalized clothes supporting their children. So we could be looking at figures anywhere from around 100K to 150.
From 1 school?
From 1 school. So just imagine having 5 schools on board.
Okay, and you have 1 machine that does that right now?
Yes.
So you already have one school? So you already have one machine, right? So
I've
this
got one machine, but
yeah, so this is what I
but
understood of what you've just told me, that you already have one machine that can make stuff. And if you get one school, it will give you would generate an income of 150K. That's 100 to 150.
now the only thing I have in this one school is the sports department.
Okay.
So we're dealing with the sports department, but I don't want to just deal with the sports department. I want to deal with the sports department and the entire uniform. So we're looking at uniforms for nursery, because within this school, there's nursery up to year 6 at the minute.
Okay.
So within this school, we're looking at nursery wear as well as uniforms, as well as sports wear, drama wear, and right across the board. So I'm in the sports section, but I want to also take on the uniform section.
Okay, so I'm going to draw it to a close here, because I actually think that this has actually gone quite well. You know why? I think our dragon has asked some quite challenging questions, which is what the dragon should do. I think you ladies did a great sales pitch. I think we had wanted a pitch for investment, but you managed to turn it around. And I think what's good is that you've shown that actually Emmanuel's questions, Terry had the answers. There's a strategy for where she wants to go with the individual schools. In that school, she wants to go to just more than the sports department. She can do more. But because you had a figure that she could say, oh, 60K, one of my machines costs 30K. Yeah, actually, that would mean that I would have twice or 3 times the capacity. I didn't understand, Terry, if you were going to take all the 60K and buy 2 machines, or you're just going to take 30K of it for the machine or whatever. But what this whole exercise was, thank you guys. I didn't give you much time to put it together, so it's tough. But what this exercise really was to say that you've got a great business idea and you kind of need to be ready for all the questions. The sales pitch was great, but when we're going for an investment pitch, you sell the product, but you also sell what you're going to do with the money that you will get. Do you see what I mean? So it's just what I was trying to show with this whole exercise is that preparing a pitch takes time. So there's no right or wrongs. Yeah. It's just a matter of everything you talked about, Terry and Alice, you would talk about in the pitch, but you might now look back and say, right, because this is what we do, we currently have one machine and we've got a really fast turnaround compared to some of the other businesses. With 60K, we can increase our turnaround by X, which will increase our profit by Y and give Emmanuel a return on his investment in 2 or 3 years. Do you see what I mean? That's eventually where you get to. If you had more than 7 minutes, you probably would have been able to do that. But I think it's really important that you did pick up on a lot of the things that we've talked about. And I love the way you both worked to present. You, Alice, introduced mini-me's. For a minute there, I was confused because I know mini-me's is Terry's, but you'd obviously spent time understanding the business. And one of the things that happens in business is sometimes you have to work with people that you don't know very well quite quickly. So that's what you ladies did. Emmanuel had the easier job of just letting you say it and him, being a dragon. But he was also having to listen. So he asked really relevant questions. I mean, he pulled the 60K out of nowhere, which is great because you didn't mention it. But it's quite a nice figure. If someone says I've got 60, he said I've got 60K. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. You said something like that. Yeah. And the thing is, we've hopefully had some fun. That was the whole idea, is to have some fun. But to also think about the investor, what he or she is going to want to know about your business and what you can actually tell the investor. You've had a lot of answers, Terry, about what you would do with that money. But also what you said, which I would like you to say in your pitch when you do go to the headmistress, is where you are now and how that money is going to make a difference. Yeah, because that part of the story was really strong. When Emmanuel started asking the questions, I didn't know where it was going to go. But you were like, okay, this is what I do with the money. This is what's happening. This is what's happening with the school. I don't want just the sports department. I want the whole school and all the schools in my area. You've got all that information. Yeah. So I hope that helped Yeah, we're meant to be closing soon, actually. So that's why I had to make it a bit shorter. But thank you for being game, for doing it, ladies. Emmanuel, thank you for being the dragon called Emmanuel. Yeah, let us, I mean, you know, we've got more presentations and stuff on different things. If you're interested, you can always go back to the Elevate Eventbrite. Even
one question: when is this Elevate stuff actually all end? Does it end like this year, this summer?
so this program is running from January to April.
Oh, okay.
Program we're working on, but Elevate is, I mean, the program exists the whole time. It's just that the training and the resources that we've been doing. We've also been doing one-to-ones. I don't know if you've been on the website, but you can book like a one-to-one with a business advisor that can help with your specific business as well. So that should finish mid-April. But I couldn't tell you if we may well do it again. Because I work with Hustle and Heels, we're a partner of Elevate, but I'm not part of Elevate. So they just work with us to do the specific workshops and courses. But I'm sure that they'll be doing something similar. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
All right, then. Cheers.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Cheers. Good luck with it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for being the dragon.